Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most advanced treatments to eliminate ED and PE. 98% of men experience instant results on their first office visit. They're even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Don't just take our word for it. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now for our limited time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
'Tis the season to be cool. Florida Home AC wants to make sure you're not cooked like a Christmas goose this summer. Make sure your AC unit is ready for the heat, and if it's time to look at replacement, look for quality and value. You'll get that from Florida Home AC. And right now, take advantage of $1,750 off a brand new heating and AC unit. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com for all the details and trust a company that will always keep you cool. Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars.
When you wake up well-rested on a great mattress, everything becomes clear.
Iced coffee is not a meal.
Things you missed when you were tired finally reveal themselves.
My mom was right about sunscreen.
At Mattress Firm, we know the right mattress matters. Right now, save $500 on Tempur-Breeze mattresses, plus get a $300 gift during our Black Friday Now sale. Shop in-store or online at mattressfirm.com. The right mattress matters. We'll find yours. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
If you're a Jaguars fan who's always on the move, we've got the perfect ticket for you with our Bundle at the Bank. You can purchase tickets to 3 or more games, starting at just $58 per game. Whether you're working around a work schedule or excited to share the hometown team with out-of-town family, you get the flexibility you want for your time at Everbank this fall. Visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000 to get your Bundle at the Bank.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. This update brought to you by Woody's Barbecue. What was day one of Jaguars training camp like for Christian Kirk?
Yeah, I thought it was a very clean first day. Usually, especially on the first day, you have some operational errors, false starts, missed snaps, things of that nature. But I thought from assignment-wise, we were great. As a receiver group, I thought we did a great job making plays when they came our way, being on the details, and obviously Trevor had a great day as well. So it's a good starting point. Honestly, you kind of expect that from day one. Guys are fresh energy. So when we get into days 10, 11, 12, when it starts getting a little hot, guys are a little more tired and sore, that you look for us to have a clean day.
Christian Kirk one-on-one with Hayes Carline. 90 degrees at 6 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Yes, day 2, live from Charlotte, the Atlantic Coast Conference football meetings back home. Day 1, training camp underway for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Unbelievable. What a time of year. We're going to have plenty on both over the next couple of hours. JJ LaSelva back in the studios. The plush, recently rebuilt, brand new studios in Jacksonville. I'm on the road, second of 3 days here, live from Charlotte. Today was about Florida State, Pitt, Duke, Virginia, and Virginia Tech. We'll wrap things up tomorrow, day 3. We'll do a live show here Thursday night from 6 to 8. Also, Joe Cowart and company on primetime. Earlier in the day, they'll be on with you from 12 until 3. And then at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, bam, we go from Charlotte to Duval. And I look forward to being out there at the brand new Miller Electric Center for day 3 of the Jaguars training camp. Obviously, I missed today. Can't be 2 places at one time. I'll miss tomorrow. I have a full report. My buddy John Osher coming up in less than 1 hour. My understanding, though, is it was a very good day. And that's typically the case, right? I mean, these are professional football players. It's usually really out of the ordinary if you're not hearing that it was a good day. For the most part, everything I've read, everything that I've seen that's viral, Calvin Ridley is as advertised. I saw a couple of his highlight clips, and there's a difference maker. Trevor seemed to be right on page today. Apparently some really good battles as well, with Calvin Ridley going at one-on-one against Tyson Campbell. Some other news coming from Doug Peterson, both health-related news and some other tidbits, which we'll get into a little bit later on the program. But Jaguar fans, we are definitely going to hit that coming up a little bit later on the program. I do want to get things started, however, with day 2 here in Charlotte. And once again, it's all about Florida State. I haven't seen anything like this in almost a decade. It's really the, Jameis's final year, the 29-game win streak, the turnovers and the problems that did happen in the Rose Bowl at Oregon. That season was the last time they played across the street here for the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship that first Saturday in December. Ever since then, times have been lean. Now, they certainly did improve a year ago. There's no question about it. When you look at Florida State, they were number 1 in total offense in the Atlantic Coast Conference, averaged more than 36 points a game. They were number 1 overall in rushing offense last year, which I think in some circles maybe we don't remember that as much as we should. Trey Benson didn't have a good game against Oklahoma. I mean, he needed, 25 yards or 35 yards to get to 1,000 after really having a very good year. He was very instrumental on that final drive when Florida State knocked off Florida deep in the fourth quarter, but he ended up 10 yards short, still well over 6 yards a carry. It's a balanced attack. 3rd in passing, 1st overall. That's like old school Florida State. Number 1 in pass, or number 1 in points, number 1 in rushing, number 1 in total, number 3 in passing. So that's how you win games. Defensively, they improved. Hell, I would have fired Adam Fuller a few years ago. You would have too. It's all right. You don't have to admit it. Everything's rosy right now. Everything's good. The addition of Randy Shannon has really made a difference. I want to believe, okay, when you look at the front 7 and, scheme-wise, the way things Florida State does do it, I guess I should, correctly say, more of the front 6 and in the way that defense is run, their own variation of a 4-2-5 and the way that they name their different defensive backs. But at times last year, they really struggled against the run. When they lost, they gave up well over 200 yards. They also gave up much more than 200 yards on the ground against Oklahoma. Still, as a team, they improved to 3rd overall scoring, 20.6. Their rush defense was 11th. All right? That doesn't add up. Not for a team that's 10-3. Not for a winning team, right? Teams that struggle with rushing defenses, for the most part, are what? They're either awful, which Florida State was not, or their rushing defense is that way because they're trailing so bad in games and they're fast-paced, trying to do everything they can offensively, passing it to catch up, that when their opponent gets the ball, they're just going to, sit off it and take the clock and run instead of pass, so it keeps ticking away. So that, you can't trust those numbers. Those are weird. They were number 1 against the pass. It was sensational. They sacked quarterbacks. They forced some takeaways. They had some pass breakups. It was a good year for the Contain. Overall, they were number 1. So Florida State last year was number 1 in the conference in total offense. They were number 1 in the conference in total defense, although for those of you who listen to me, I'm always going to talk about points, right? Scoring points, giving up points. Noel's number 1 in scoring points, number 3 in giving up points. Still only 5-3 in the conference. They're still chasing Clemson, who was 8-0. Some really good things. The personnel is here. The talent level is here. Also, it's been a long time since I felt this way. Players are getting better at Florida State. That is something they always did under Bowden. That is something they always did under Jimbo Fisher. Players got better, right? Didn't happen under Willie Taggart. How much did it happen for players early on with Mike Norvell? He didn't have a lot of great players on his roster, as we know. But that, to me, is always one of the most important aspects of seeing what happens with a college football coach. How much do these players improve from the time that they showed up on campus until the time that they left? We're starting to see that with a lot of players at Florida State. Not necessarily who have come out the last couple of years. Obviously, very few have been drafted. But that's going to begin to change as early as the draft coming up in 2024. So we got a ton to do tonight. We're going to take you through what we did earlier. Myself and Joe Cowart. You're going to hear from Jordan Travis. That's coming up in about 15 minutes. It's, today he looked like he should be on Wall Street. He was all dressed up to the nines, as he has now for the last 3 years that he's come to Charlotte. But with the glasses today, it was a different look. I tell you what, he sold it. He sold the look. But he said that this is as nervous, or this is the least amount of nervousness that he's been in the last 3 years. That the last couple of times he came through here, he didn't enjoy talking to the media. It's never been something that he was comfortable with. And honestly, I never knew that. I never understood that. I mean, the time he was there 2 years ago at McKinsey Milton, and, I talk about it often because it's still one of the rare scenarios out here that totally caught me by surprise. But for those of you who do forget, he maintains he's always been a passing quarterback. And, I asked him that a few years ago. I asked him about whether or not he could actually pass the football, because Florida State fans didn't see that as soon as he arrived on campus. And he said, yeah, when I played high school football under Eric Kresser, the former Gator quarterback, that's all I did was throw it. That's all I did was throw it at Louisville. And by the time I got to Tallahassee, things changed and they wanted me to run the ball. But if you remember early on, he wasn't an accurate passer. He also had happy feet. A lot of that was due to a horrendous offensive line. But you've seen the growth. And he told me, because I've always been a passing QB. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I didn't see that. I don't think any Florida State fan listening right now in Jacksonville saw that. But he's grown, and he's gotten that much better. And now there's a feeling of, I don't want to call it self-confidence, but there's something that has happened and something that has changed for the better when it comes to Jordan Travis. And then getting to Mike Norvell, who we're also going to play that interview. Mike Norvell today telling me that Jordan Travis is among one of the most improved players this spring. Typically when you talk about improved players, they're redshirt freshmen or sophomores that are vying for playing time but trying to get involved, a receiver who's trying to get involved in a rotation. Not a quarterback who's coming back to start for a third consecutive year. Not a preseason Heisman Trophy quarterback who was one of the best players on the planet a year ago. Norvell raving about Jordan Travis today in that aspect, which has got to blow Seminole fans away. I mean, are you kidding me? How much better is this guy going to be from what he did a season ago? And I don't think it's coach speak. I'll say this about Norvell, man. From the time he took over, outside of that whole nonsense with, I can't even think of his name now, Marvin Wilson and all of that. I mean, for the most part, what you see and what you hear from him seems to be truthful. And I respect that in him. He could have mentioned 84 other players. No, he didn't. He went straight to Jordan Travis. So if that doesn't fire up Florida State fans, I do not know what else will. So we have all that coming up in our very first hour. I'm actually going to hit the hit the brakes here on time, so we will have enough of an opportunity to play those interviews for you. That's the way I'd like to get things started right here on this Wednesday edition. Opening comments are brought to you by Shmunez Vision. All right. I've known Dr. Neil Shmunez forever, and no matter what it is when it comes to your eyes, you need to be able to trust someone. How about have a scenario where it feels like a family-type organization. That's exactly what you're going to get at Shmunez Vision, okay? Set up an appointment today, 299-2906, or check them out online. Go to shmunezvision.com. Dr. Catherine Shmunez, fellowship trained in cornea, cataract surgery, our refractive surgery. And you look at them, and it's more than 30 years combined when it comes to laser eye surgery. I'm in the hotel room, you know, and I take out my contacts, and they're daily contacts. And, yeah, you know, I get up, I can't see. I look for my glasses. I can't find my glasses. I'm not a candidate for laser eye surgery. I wish I was. But ask yourself this question. How many times a week do you deal with that? You're looking for your readers. You're looking for your glasses. You're having problems with your contacts. Imagine laser eye surgery and never having to worry about that for the rest of your life. It's only one of the options and one of the, let's say, things that is part of their routine and repertoire. It's amazing what they're able to do over at Shmunez Vision. Check them out online. Go to shmunezvision.com. Care you can see. All right, let's get things cranked up right here on a Wednesday. We are live from Charlotte, North Carolina. It is day 2 of the Atlantic Coast Conference football meetings. We'll start things with Jordan Travis, the quarterback, back for another season with Florida State. Tons of hype, tons of press for a third consecutive year. He joins us from the Atlantic Coast Conference meetings here in Charlotte, and he goes into the night next with Rick Ballou.
1010XL keeps it live and local even longer. Go into the night with Rick Ballou.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's got 2, maybe 3 good seasons left.
Then it's Hacker After Dark.
I think his record speaks for itself.
Evenings on 1010XL.
Active and pain-free. That's the ticket. Dr. George Barry here, and I know that's the goal of every patient I see. They want the best possible care so they can go back to enjoying life. That could be pick up basketball, golf, tennis, running, or just working out. It all requires you to be as healthy as you can be. If joint pain is taking its toll on your active lifestyle, come see me at Ballou Orthopedics. We have locations all over Jacksonville and can diagnose and treat even the most severe joint pain. A homegrown Jacksonville practice. Find out more at BallouOrthopedics.com.
Ballou here for Shmunez Vision. Why Shmunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Shmunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Shmunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Shmunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit shmunezvision.com today. Care you can see.
Get your news and notes from the swamp.
Alligators ornery cause they got all them teeth.
I'm Taylor Dahl, and I'll bring you the Gator Report to keep you connected to Gainesville.
Wow! Brought to you by Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts on 1010XL.
All right, Ballou here for Jimison Burr. Forever I've been giving you words of wisdom, not tonight, because instead there's some new exciting information that I want to share with you out there. It comes to all of you business owners, okay? Lawyers are there to handle any type of business encounter you may have. Just contact Jimison Burr. How about data privacy and cybersecurity? Real estate leasing and transactions. Dispute resolution, such as collecting money, enforcing contract rights, partnership and employment disputes, vendor or customer disputes. It goes on and on and on. Also, get ahead of it. Much like when you go to a doctor to try to get ahead of it, Jimison Burr offers regular legal health checks to find potential legal issues for your company. For all of the details, go to jimersonfirm.com.
It's storm season, and JEA is committed to keeping you informed. In the event of a storm, we'll text and email you about the status of your services. We use Facebook and Twitter to post real-time updates. Our live outage map on JEA.com lets you track restoration progress. And as crews work to restore services, our storm outreach team will be in local neighborhoods to answer your questions. Because as your community-owned utility, JEA is here to keep you safe and connected. Your community, your utility.
Ackerman Urology offers the most advanced options for improving men's health and vitality. Their board-certified urologists treat all prostate disease and sexual health issues. Call their new location on Atlantic and Hodges or visit AckermanUrology.com.
First Responder AC and Heat is a family, veteran, and first responder-owned company. Our family has served North Florida with residential services for over 50 years. First Responder AC and Heat provides customers with a hometown feel, heating, ventilation and air conditioning system replacement, home air purification, duct cleaning, and so much more. 10% discount for veterans, first responders, teachers, and new homeowners. For all the details, go to firstresponderac.com.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows and $2.95.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. They were fantastic in setting up my car loan. I've never had a bad experience, and I've banked with them for years. I trust First Florida Credit Union. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the New Durban location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Children under 5 die from drowning in Florida more than any other state. Together, we can reduce the risk of drowning. The YMCA has programs accessible to families that teach essential water safety skills. Face the water with confidence. Learn more at watersafetyflorida.org.
I want to make our backyard into a paradise, but where do I start?
A few people I know chose CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. They do it all: fire pits, pergolas, and custom outdoor kitchens.
That sounds convenient, but I don't want a half dozen subcontractors milling around.
CSS is a licensed contractor, so they do 100% of the work themselves, from start to finish.
That's perfect. Let's get an estimate.
Well, I already toured their showroom last week.
Ha! Well, what are we waiting for? Let's do it.
CSSOutdoor.com.
I'm Dr. Mitchell Yass, the most unknown world-renowned expert on pain elimination. That's right, elimination. If you've tried medications, injections, physical therapy, chiropractic, even surgery, and still experience pain, then say yes to Yass. I have successfully used the Yass method for over 30 years to help thousands reclaim their lives. To learn more, call me at 904-906-YASS. Let's end your pain and say yes to Yass.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
Malfunctions in your electrical panel can lead to hazards like fire or power outages, leaving your home at risk. So leave it to the pros and Mr. Sparky.
8Sparky.
Your on-time electrician, Mr. Sparky of the First Coast.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Taking you inside the ACC. The ACC kickoff from Charlotte on 1010XL. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234 and Performance Painting.
Yeah, it's good to be back with you live from Charlotte, North Carolina. I am Rick Ballou. First things first, back to the studio. Let's check in with our good friend, Mr. J.J. LaSelva. How are things, young man?
Things are amazing. Same old, but first day, it feels like we're here. Football season is finally upon us.
It's I'm trying to figure out how I feel, and I don't say that often. Typically the way I feel, I'll speak on it, but I'm thrilled to be here because tomorrow's a big day too. I mean, it really is. Drake May's rolling through here tomorrow. Clemson's still the beast. They have 4 guys first team all preseason on their defense right now, according to several publications. They got a quarterback that they love in Cade Klubnik. So, you have all that hype. Miami yesterday, Florida State today. But I'm jealous that I'm not out there with everyone else watching the Jaguars in day 1 and day 2. So, that's what I'm dealing with right now, JJ.
A little FOMO is what they call it, fear of missing out.
I don't think I've had that feeling since I was a sophomore in high school or something. But, yeah, that's kind of what I got right now.
All the cool kids like the Duracos and Leon and Francie, they're all hanging out. And
Jordan
you're
Chip,
back there with Joe and Graham.
John Shipley, and Jordan DeLugo, and
Dozier, who was there, who we're going to have on tonight, of course.
It's like, I mean, this is really cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining, but anyway, I've read everything that was out there. I've seen things that are out there. We got a lot coming up on the Jaguars. That's going to be at 7 o'clock with our good friend John Osher, who is going to join us. Let me tell you that this segment is sponsored to you by the good folks over at Patriot Roofing Services. They specialize in all types of commercial and residential roofing and repairs. Hurricane season is here. So are you ready? Just ask yourself that question. Gutters, sun tubes, skylights, they do it all. Financing available, licensed and insured. Give Mark a call, 982-4052, whether it's commercial or residential. Patriot Roofing Services. Really good stuff. No question about that. All right, let's get straight to it. Jordan Travis, he is back for yet another year. This offense has a chance to get better. Again, averaged 36.1 points a game last year. It was a very balanced attack with explosive wide receivers and running backs. The issue has always been with that offensive line. Phil Steele tells us that as far as starts are concerned throughout the country, the most are, in fact, Florida State with 207 career starts. Now, obviously, those are not all at FSU. They've taken advantage of the transfer portal and brought in quite a few different football players, but still, that is an incredible number if you look at what has happened there as far as career starts at the, around the offensive line. Just a huge number. Anyway, with that said, a chance myself did, along with Joe Cowart, to sit down and talk with Florida State's quarterback, Jordan Travis. Here it is. Live from the ACC, Rick Ballou, Joe Cowart. Let's bring in the man who's been here for a third consecutive year, Jordan Travis, an opportunity to do some outstanding things this year with Florida State. Jordan, how you been?
I've been amazing.
This is nothing new for you. This is your third straight year.
Yes, sir. This is the first year I came here, and I'm not stressed out. I mean, the first 2 years, I was stressed coming up, leading up to it. But I'm happy to be here, man. Just grateful for the opportunity.
What do you mean about stress as far as meeting the media, or stress as far as the upcoming season?
I'm not a big a media guy with cameras and stuff and all that type of stuff, but I'm getting better. But yeah, this year I was excited to get here and happy.
Yeah, well, you can embrace it if you're, get off to a season the way a lot of FSU fans are starting to, feel that you're going to be doing a lot of media interviews. You're going to be in the Heisman conversation, all kinds of stuff. What has the offseason been like for you, and what were your goals as far as getting ready for this season?
Same thing as always, just keeping a level head. I mean, that's the most important thing for me is just always staying humble, man. We've been at the bottom. We've been in the dumps before at Florida State, and especially in the career that I've been here. We've been down pretty low, where a lot of people are talking about us negatively. We always have to keep that in the back of our head and always have that chip on our shoulder, man, because we've been through a lot and we came a long way. But we just got to focus on the game in front of us, the play in front of us, the day in front of us. I mean, if the good Lord wakes us up in the morning, man, we got to take the most of that opportunity. I mean, Coach Norvell always talks about just every opportunity we get, just use the most of it, man. And I feel like we do that a lot. But, I mean, all the talks are awesome and stuff, man, but we got to focus on what's important.
You've seen everything. You came here, you witnessed the coaching change, you witnessed the total rebuild, the competition for you to win the job. Now here it is. The expectations are off the chart. So how different is it now with all the positive press, considering everything that you've been through?
It is different for sure. Well, I've been through so much in my career, so many negatives and so many critics. I feel like I don't even get into that stuff anymore. I'm so over that type of stuff. I keep what's important, focus on the main thing, and keep the main thing the main thing. That's the most important thing to me. And the main thing is win football games. I mean, the talk is awesome, but, man, when we get on the field, that's what matters the most. It's like when you're in those lines, man, it's time to roll. Whatever people say, that goes to the door real quick after the first game. We know that, and we're ready for that, and it's going to be fun.
Talking with Jordan Travis, quarterback for the Florida State Seminoles with the ACC kickoff. And, you mentioned that first game. That's what everyone is talking about. And it's a showcase game. It really is. You go to that Citrus Bowl, whatever it's called now in Orlando, and it will be Jordan Travis versus Jaden Daniels. That is a massive game. What runs through your mind when you think about that opener?
Just another game. Someone we don't have to play ourselves anymore. I mean, I love an opportunity to play somebody else other than your own defense all the time, man. But that's going to be fun. I mean, it's FSU versus LSU, two big-time teams. At the end of the day, it's another game. We got to go out there with the same mindset we always have, is to work every single play. And I feel like the offseason is the biggest thing for us. I mean, we conditioned so hard. We're ready for the fourth quarter every single time. And it's going to be a fun game and a fun year.
But how much better are you from the time you played them a year ago in your mind?
Way better. That's not even close. I mean, I'm as confident as ever. I mean, I feel like I'm the most accurate I've ever been in my life. I'm faster. I'm up 15 pounds. It's gonna be a fun game for sure.
Noticeable weight gain a year ago, but you're up 15 from last year.
I weighed 213 as of today, Missouri.
213. Okay, very good. Phenomenal weapons. I mean, my goodness, man. I mean, your wide receivers. The last 7 games of the year, as well, an incredibly balanced attack. Florida State went over 200 yards rushing in all 7 of those games. And an offensive line that has been criticized for probably the last 10 years. It appears that you have a tremendous amount of experience. How does the offense look in your opinion?
Yeah, we look really good. I mean, it starts up front. I mean, I give credit to those guys because we have a lot of guys that were there when the critics were out the most. The way that they have persevered and kept a smile on their face every day and just give effort. That's all I ask for from an offensive line. I don't care about if you miss a block, if you miss an assignment. As long as you do everything 100% and you're giving 100%, I'm happy. I think my O-line respects the most that I'll never go curse them out. I'll never go snap on them. I'll encourage them 100%. But, man, if I get hit hard, it's football. I tell them that, feel comfortable, give 100%. If you miss a block going 100%, I would never be upset. But, yeah, we have talent across the entire field. Running attack that's really special. Keziah Holmes, Trey Benson, LT, I can go on Rodney Hill. And obviously the receivers, that will speak for itself. A bunch of big guys. We got Johnny Wilson, Keon Coleman, Winston Wright, Ja'Kai Douglas.
Tell us a little bit about Keon.
Yeah, Keon, he is really special. Really special. I mean, his work ethic and his personality is one thing. I mean, he's going to come in here and make big-time plays, and he's done that so far.
Well, Jordan, I know you're fired up. I know you're going to be up and down Radio Row, but, Rick and I were reminiscing, and 3 years ago it was you and Mackenzie Milton here.
Yes, sir.
A lot has changed, bro.
It has. Yes, sir. It has.
Defensively, classic Florida State, nasty defense.
Yep.
That line right now is filled with NFL players. What was it like this spring going up against those guys?
It's the best. I mean, competition is the best, and especially when it's your own teammates. I would say the biggest competition we have all year long is going against that defense. And, I mean, it's great. When you get to the game, you feel like you got a little bit more time. I mean, you got Jared Verse and Brandon Fisk and Gilbert and Fabo. I mean, it's pretty special.
Well, Jordan, enjoy it. We look forward to that big game. I know a lot of Knowles fans on the First Coast are definitely looking forward to FSU, LSU to kick everything off. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Jordan Travis of FSU, the quarterback, right here on Radio Row, ACC Kickoff.
A little bit earlier today, catching up with Jordan Travis. Looks the part, saying all the right things, but he is right. He has got weapons galore. And, you look at a guy like Micah Pittman. He got up, and I really thought that he did some nice things for Florida State last year. More of a possession wide receiver was Pittman, right? Only averaged about 10 yards a ball, but, he packed up and he left. And Malik McClain went to Penn State. He packed up and he left. The reason why those guys left is they probably saw the writing on the wall. They have been replaced by better football players. And this Keon Coleman, it's unbelievable. I've seen him listed as, the ACC first team, second team, and he's never taken a snap in the Atlantic Coast Conference at Florida State. So he is supposed to be a difference maker. As a matter of fact, we're going to hear from Mike Norvell coming up here in just a couple of moments, and he raves about Keon Coleman from Michigan State. But, last year we saw what Johnny Wilson was able to do. Sure, he dropped some footballs, but look at the game he had against Oklahoma. And, there's a guy that, if he does have the speed, is certainly going to be an NFL wide receiver. Jaheim Bell, a transfer from South Carolina as a makeshift tight end, kind of adding a different type of dimension to Florida State's offense. Frankly, something they really have never had in that particular fashion, from my understanding, from what I've been told. I mean, this isn't a nickel Larry type of tight end or one of that ilk. This is different. This is a guy who may end up, believe it or not, be your first or second option, or plays will be specifically diagrammed for him, as opposed to throwing to any one of the 3, 4, or 5 wide receivers. And then all of a sudden you look at the young guys. He mentions Destin Hill, who sat out for 2 years. Norvell is going to get into that coming up here momentarily. And, Portier and Williamson and some of these other younger wide receivers, it's really looking pretty good here or pretty good there, I should say, in Tallahassee, as far as what they do believe the situation is going to be like at wide receiver. In my opinion, the biggest problem at Florida State over the last decade has been over the last 10 years or so has been the offensive line. And I asked Mike Norvell about that, and you're going to hear it coming up. I think his answer is interesting. It is. And in a way, he's basically like, hey, you can have your opinion, or anyone else can have your opinion, but here are the facts. And I'll save it and allow you to hear what Mike Norvell said. But for any Seminole fan listening, this has been the problem. That offensive line for a decade has been soft, and it's been slow, and it's been friendly. It got better last year. It absolutely did. It was the best that it's been. But this year, an opportunity for them to be that much better. So when we continue on, which will be right here on the other side, let's bring in the head coach of Florida State, Mike Norvell. Unfortunately, we don't get a chance to talk a lot of defense with Mike. This is basically all about his offense, which has a chance to be one of the very best in all of college football. We got so much more to do. We'll take you up until 8 o'clock tonight. We are live from the Atlantic Coast Conference meetings here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Why, dang, it's so hot, I'm sweating like a pig.
Cool off with 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Who's your hero? Before you answer Superman, I don't mean those heroes. I'm talking our local heroes. Do you know one? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet want to recognize your hero in a big way. This year, we will recognize local heroes in our community and honor them with a brand new car. That's right, we'll be giving away a brand new car, cash, and free oil changes for life to our local heroes. Visit localwowheroes.com to nominate and vote today. Let's wow our heroes.
Mandarin people, make sure you wake up hungry, in the mood for a beverage, and ready to watch sports on Thursday, July 27th. The Players Grill opens its doors officially at 11 a.m. on San Jose. Players Grill, where the neighborhood meets.
Of course, Roland Reich Plumbing has awards from Folio Weekly and the Bold City's Best. Now, Roland Reich is also confirmed as the Google Guaranteed Plumbing Service. Because when you do plumbing right, the word gets around. That's Roland Reich Plumbing.
This is Hayes Carline for QC Kinetics. It's time to take control. Don't give in to that constant joint pain. Take back your quality of life today with QC Kinetics. Call them today at 904-274-5522 to set up an appointment at their Mandarin or Ponte Vedra locations. Take control with QC Kinetics. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime, no more pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or back. QC Kinetics takes your body's own healing agents and concentrates them in the area where you have pain. You can repair and restore damaged tissue naturally through regenerative medicine. The summer is here. You need to be out there having fun, making memories, golfing, walks on the beach, enjoying your life. Take control now and start living pain-free. No surgery, no downtime. QC Kinetics has locations in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. Call them today at 274-5522. That's 274-5522.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On July 26, 1970, Reds catcher Johnny Bench, playing outfield for the day, goes 4 for 5 with 7 RBIs, including 3 home runs off St. Louis Cardinals. Mystic Cornhole Company is on the move. The store where excitement meets excellence is relocating this month to the corner of Hogan and Parental Home Road. And you can always find them online at mysticcornhole.com.
Need cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all. Selling or pawning, get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Hacker here for the Sausage Dude Sausage. Look, I'm a sausage guy, and the Sausage Dude Sausage is the best sausage I've ever had. The Sausage Dudes use high-quality pork, natural casings, along with love and dedication. You can pick up their 4 terrific flavors, including my favorite, the Italian, at Publix locations all throughout Jacksonville. And a portion of the proceeds go to benefit the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida. Take it from me, the Sausage Guy. Get over to Publix right now to get your hands on the Sausage Dude Sausage.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason Stanley Pools is a family tradition of fine swimming pools. It's locally owned and run by the Stanley family since 1988. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build and renovate our pool, and they do a fantastic job of maintaining it. I've recommended Stanley Pools for years for pool construction, repairs, maintenance, and renovation. Call Stanley Pools at 269-7277 today to transform your backyard. That's Stanley Pools, 269-7277.
Hey, poker players! The Card Player Poker Tour is back at Best Bet Jacksonville from August 10th to the 21st. The tournament schedule's packed with excitement and features 9 different poker tournaments, including the $1,700 no-limit Hold'em Mystery Bounty Main Event with a $300,000 guaranteed prize pool. Head to BestBetJacks.com for the full schedule and information. That's BestBetJacks.com.
The IRS has just received $80 billion in funding to hire additional agents for aggressive collections enforcement. If you owe the IRS, now is the time to take action before the IRS comes after you or your business. There's no time to waste. Call J. David Tax Law, a firm right here in Jacksonville, for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777. Or visit jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting, prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. The ACC Kickoff on 1010XL. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234 and Performance Painting.
All right, day 2 continues live from Charlotte, North Carolina, the Atlantic Coast Conference kickoff meetings. Very busy day here, day 2. Tomorrow will conclude things for the first time ever instead of 2 days. We're doing it in 3. For those of you who may have forgotten, no longer do we have the Atlantic or the Coastal divisions. Everything now is set in one conference. The goal is to get the 2 best teams to play for the conference championship right here the first Saturday in Charlotte, North Carolina. Many believe it's going to be Florida State and Clemson. I remember when they formed these 2 divisions, the feeling was Florida State Miami would play one another twice, right? They do it in October. They do it again in early December. It never happened. So careful what you wish for, but I think most will tell you that is going to be the case coming up this year. We shall see. John Osher and Jaguars talk. Day 1 from training camp is 20 minutes away. We're going to do that with the senior writer from Jaguars.com. Right now, though, let's bring in the head coach of Florida State. He is Mike Norvell. A little bit earlier today, myself, along with Joe Cowart, had an opportunity to talk with him. Mike Norvell is with us. We are live from Charlotte, the Atlantic Coast Conference meetings. First things first, love the Bobby Bowden tie.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's a with our Ballou Society, obviously an organization or a group that developed through the boosters to celebrate just Coach Bowden's legacy.
Yep.
Who he was for this program, what he means, and I talked earlier to our local media just a little bit about the responsibility. I mean, I've got a tremendous responsibility in this position to represent the program the way it deserves to be represented, and what greater person than to have than Coach Bowden, and just the experience that I got with him. When I first came here, it's something I'll always cherish, and just a daily reminder for what we have ahead.
When you got here, you talked about the rebuild, and in a lot of instances, it was really start from scratch. You've built it. Now here it is. The expectations are enormous at Florida State. So I got to imagine that's rewarding, but as a coach, you still haven't gotten done what you really want to get done.
Well, we've gotten better, and that's our focus, and I think as you come into our program, you want to see improvement, and there's every situation is unique to itself, and there was a lot of things we had to work through and a lot of things we had to go through early, but trying to be the example of for our players, try to be consistent with that expectation to build a culture that players want to be a part of, that players where they see their own individual growth on the field, and they see the growth collectively off the field as well, and I think that's something that I'm proud to coach this team, and we aspire for more, we aspire for better. That's been from the first day that we stepped foot on campus, and the fact that nationally people are talking really high of our program, something I am proud of. It's that we're at Florida State. It's a program that you should be proud of. I get to coach remarkable players and young men, and now we have to go continue to get better. So I am proud of the steps that have been taken and what we've been able to work through to get to where we are. But now it's about going and taking those next steps.
Head coach Mike Norvell of FSU is with us on 1010 XL, and I do think that it's not like it was a slow build or anything like that, but it was a smart build. You used the transfer portal and you've recruited well, and you've got guys like Jordan Travis that are leading the way. I mean, that's the part that I think Seminole fans showed patience.
Well, ultimately every journey is unique to itself, and we have guys that are on our roster that have been here since the first day that I stepped through the door. Two guys here, Kalen and Jordan. We have guys that have been transfers that have come in and had great success. Some guys 1 year, some guys multiple years, and then I think we've done a really good job in our high school recruiting, the evaluations, the development. We built a team, and like I said, every process is unique to itself, and we've come in and we've built it the way that not only do I think that we'll be able to have success, and we've experienced some success, but it's set up to sustain success, and there's a lot of ways to do it, and there's plenty of programs out there that can win in the moment, but can't continue that and from the first day that I stepped foot on this campus, it's been a part of our plan of not only where we're going, but where we're going to be able to stay as we continue to have that success.
36 points a game more than 36 scoring, over 200 yards rushing, very balanced attack. How much better can Jordan Travis in this offense be?
Well, I think we can definitely improve in all areas, and you talk about Jordan. I've referenced many times. I thought he was one of the most improved players that we had in spring practice because it was still fundamentals, it was details, it was consistency, all things that he's pushing to be the best of him, and that's where everybody takes ownership in that. We return a lot of guys, a lot of production, and then we've added some really impressive players into the program. Three guys up front, a couple young offensive linemen I'm very excited about. Your receiver position, with Keon Coleman, coming in, Destin Hill, Akeem Williams, Dre Jacobs. I mean, it's getting Winston Wright back, adding Jaheim Bell, Kyle Morlock there at the tight end position. I mean, it is an exciting group offensively, and we all have to continue to push. And it's a competition daily. Everybody's trying to establish their role. I didn't even mention the running backs, which I think is going to be a stacked room. But it's exciting to see the unselfishness that we have, the competitiveness that we have, but also a team that understands that everybody's got to do their job with and without the ball in their hand for us to get to where we're capable of going. So I'm looking forward to seeing that on display.
Seminoles head coach Mike Norvell with us on 1010XL. And, Jordan Travis looks determined. He really does. And I love, and maybe you can tell the story to Seminole fans, you told him to embrace that Heisman conversation. Go look at those trophies in the football complex. Tell that story.
Well, I mean, that was before last season. That was, going in, finishing up the spring. Had a lot of confidence in the work that I'd seen from Jordan. I was excited about, what was ahead, but I wanted him to understand my belief in him. And, I told him, we're finishing our exit interview and, laying out some things that he needed to do and that we needed to do and see within the program, just as from his leadership. And the last thing I told him was, you leave this office, you walk into the lobby there, at the Moore Center, and you turn left, and there's the 3 Heisman trophies. And I said, I believe wholeheartedly that you can win one. And it was before now people are talking about him in that conversation, and they should. I mean, he's that type of player. But it was something that was important for me that I wanted him to know that. I didn't need to say it on the back end. I believe it on the front end. And he still has a lot of steps that he can continue to take. But you talk about the determination. It's a determination for improvement. And Jordan Travis has been a great example for our program for what we want it to be. And he's been ups, he's had downs. But his response, and that's what I stand with him in, and that's why he's a great leader. And that's why I think you see that within our team, because a lot of guys have had those type of experiences.
Last question for you, Mike. It's been 10 plus years. The most criticized position group at Florida State has been the offensive line. You have the most starts, you're aware of this, of any college football program. This you and Alex Atkins, and the players themselves, they take that personally to be told that you need to pick up your part of the game?
Well, it's, once again, it's like, I think you referenced a few things about the outside, and, we live within the inside. We know, it's about better. It's about improvement. It's about, can you go out there and be what we all know you're capable of? Our first year, we're starting multiple guys that are freshmen or redshirt freshmen, and, being really put into a role maybe before, physically ready, but the experience still mattered. And to be able to grow from that, you add the competition, whether it's through recruiting, you see the development, our strength and conditioning program, nutrition. Everybody's been a part of that growth, and now you see a team and an offensive line unit that it's got tremendous coaching and leadership. And Alex, I think we've done a really good job with the guys that we brought into that group, and that now it's still the same objective. Go be your best, and if they do that, I've got a lot of confidence in where that group's going. But it's not built upon what the outside is saying, because if that's all it is, then it can only take you so far. I believe in where these guys can do and what they can accomplish.
You'll see plenty of First Coast Knowles in Orlando for Labor Day weekend. They're fired up and ready to go, Coach. We appreciate your time, Mike Norvell, FSU, getting ready to roll.
Yeah, we're excited about it. Appreciate you having me on, and go Knowles.
Mike Norvell, a little bit earlier today, the outside noise about the offensive line didn't have any effect on him, Alex Atkins, and this offensive line. This offensive line has a chance to be really, really good. And they weren't bad last year, as I said. I mean, when you're number one in offense, whether it's scoring and total, and you're number one in rushing offense, and you're number 3 in passing offense, there's not a lot of room for criticism. But that is, again, a credit to him, because Florida State fans out there know, listening to me, you take away Dalvin Cook and some sensational things that he did, man, that offensive line has been bad ever since then. I mean, can you imagine what Cam Akers really would have done if he had a great offensive line? The offensive line has improved. He has taken massive use that opportunity to totally excel as far as the transfer portal. They lose a couple of offensive linemen, both of which, by the way, did work out as undrafted street free agents back with the Jaguars when they held their rookie mini camp, both Dylan Givens and it was Turntime. It was the other, I think that was the offensive lineman who worked out there. Jaston Turntime. Neither one got a sniff as an NFL player. And Gibbons got a lot of hype. I actually was never really a big Gibbons fan. going back to the game 2 years ago when he had that ridiculous 15-yard personal foul with a retaliation late hit against the University of Florida. So they're both gone. And all of a sudden you look at all the guys that they just brought in from different parts of the country. 3 offensive linemen that they believe that can step in and play immediately. And you got a lot of experience with Robert Scott Jr., who they think is going to be an NFL tackle. Maurice Smith, who has been there for quite some time as a center. Dimitri Emmanuel, another guard with a tremendous amount of experience. Bless Harris, at right tackle, is a guy who started game 1 a year ago and was injured, didn't play again, yet they went out through the transfer portal. I believe they went to, was it UTEP, to get Jeremiah Byers, who many do believe is going to be the starting right tackle. Darius Washington is a guy that's been all over that offensive line. You've brought Corey Roddick is another transfer portal guy that may be a plug-in immediately at left guard. Julian Armella, a legacy. His dad played there. Enzo Armella, very highly recruited freshman offensive lineman from South Florida a year ago. An opportunity for him to be a part of all of this. So numbers-wise, in 206 starts, far and away the most. This offensive line should be a strength. That's the point I'm making. That should be a strength for this football team. And overall in the ditch, I love it. It's been a long time since you've said that. But you go to Brendan Fisk as a transfer who came on over and has done some really good things. Darrell Jackson. My understanding, talking with quite a few people, the Miami transfer, it's his third school in 3 years. Situation on Darrell Jackson is he's lazy. He doesn't like to play, okay? He doesn't like to practice. And you're talking about a kid who's 6'5", 335 pounds. I was told that he absolutely moved anyone in front of him during practice if he wanted to practice. So can you get this kid's motor running just long enough for him to give Florida State a couple of years and then make some money in the NFL? And, he's going to join Fabian Lovett and Jared Verse and Patrick Payton and, Brian Turner's another one. All of a sudden, you've got yourself a really good defensive line. So, classic Florida State was also classic, outstanding, force a takeaway defense, and also nasty in the ditch. And they haven't been nasty in the ditch in quite some time. And I'm hoping that, I know Florida State fans are, that this is going to be the time that things do actually turn around there for them on that side of the football. All right, Florida State and their report today brought to you by Premier Home and Finance. They are your local premier mortgage brokerage with interest rates rising now at a record pace for over the last 16 months. Finding a great rate, right loan, and the right program has never been more important. Whether it's a VA, FHA, or conventional loan, get premier mortgage experience with Adam Pearsall. Just go to Premier Home and Finance. Go to premierhomeaf.com. That's premierhomeaf.com. All right, coming up next, day one for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They open up the brand new facility, the Miller Electric Center, and the first practice apparently went as advertised. We'll head back to Jacksonville, bringing our good friend John Osher. He goes into the night with Rick Ballou.
This is Eli Manning.
The Giants have won the Super Bowl.
Your MVP, ladies and gentlemen, Eli Manning.
On 1010 XL Jacksonville Sports Radio.
When you're clocking out and happy hour's already started. But you're clocking out and happy hour's already started. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey for Tire Outlet. Are you tired of overpaying for tires? Well, cruise into Tire Outlet for the best selection, best quality, and best prices on the tires you need to keep you and your family safe on the road. With over 40 years of experience and 15 locations across Florida, Tire Outlet is the brand you can trust to perform great service at a great price. Our expert technicians are ready to do the maintenance and repairs to keep your vehicle performing its best. Tire Outlet. Wholesale prices. Premium service.
Tire Outlet.
Sports injuries are a common issue for both adults and children. Dr. George Barry here, and as a specialist in orthopedic care, the team at Barry Orthopedics and Sports Medicine here in Jacksonville provides comprehensive diagnosis and treatments of all types of sports injuries. With additional training in sports medicine and more than 30 years of experience, the team is available to care for your entire family and help you have fun and stay active. Visit us today at barryorthopedics.com.
And don't forget to check out Breaking Bones Sunday morning, 7:30 on 1010XL.
Summertime is here, and it's time to cast those worries out. And Royal is here to help you do that with our summer termite special featuring Centricon. Starting at just $249. That's right, I said $249, and that's installed.
Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
Looking to purchase or refinance a home? Adam Pearsall of Premier Home and Finance is your local premier mortgage brokerage. With interest rates rising at a record pace over the last 16 months, finding a great rate and the right loan program has never been more important. Whether it's a VA, FHA, or conventional loan, get the premier mortgage experience with Adam Pearsall and Premier Home and Finance. PremierHomeAF.com. NMLS number 648848. Company NMLS number 209765. Equal housing opportunity.
WJXL FM, Jacksonville Beach.
Hun, the drain really smells.
Yeah, wow, it does.
I think it's getting backed up. What should we do? Did you just quack like a duck?
Yes, I did. Duck Rooter, your plumbing pros in Northeast Florida. Need help with a plumbing issue at your home or business? Just call the Duck.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
He was number 55, and he's still our middle linebacker.
You're gonna lose.
Tom McManus.
It was like he didn't know what to do.
Friday from 10 to noon. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. A better way to a better window on 1010XL.
I want my Woody's barbecue.
Hello, barbecue lovers and sports fans alike. High-flying Jack O'Brien here with a big hi, how are you? You know, I've been recently boning up on writing radio copy, and today we'll be executing the subliminal advertising approach. Here we go. Woody's barbecue.
At Woody's barbecue, it's what we do.
Let's eat.
It's time to shine a spotlight on your colleagues or company's exceptional achievements. Throughout the year, Jacksonville Business Journal hosts awards to honor the individuals or companies innovating, inspiring, and changing industries. They're looking for the fastest growing companies, your ultimate CEO, a woman of influence, rising stars, tech leaders, 40 under 40, and best places to work. Learn more about the criteria and deadlines at jbjevents.com.
Your quick and easy solution for paying the lowest price on car insurance is Estrella Insurance. E to the T here and start saving the big bucks and pay less today. Call 1-800-CAR-INSURANCE and see for yourself. That's 1-800-CAR-INSURANCE or visit EstrellaInsurance.com.
For the past 5 years in Jacksonville, J-Dog Junk Removal has been on a mission to put veterans back to work. They have successfully helped over 40 veterans find meaningful employment, and they're not stopping there. Their goal is to reach an astounding 75 veterans employed by the year 2025, all in our local community. J-Dog Junk Removal, veteran-owned, veteran-operated.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Good to be back with you just after 7 o'clock right here on your home at the Jaguars. Today we are broadcasting live from Charlotte, North Carolina. Day 2, the Atlantic Coast Conference football meeting. It's been a blast out here. Today, Florida State, Pitt, Duke, Virginia, Va Tech. Of course, on Monday, it was Miami, Syracuse, Louisville, and Georgia Tech. Tomorrow, we get Clemson, we get North Carolina, and Drake May and Cade Klubnik, respectively. Boston College, along with North Carolina State and Wake Forest. So day 3, for the first time ever, instead of 2 days, we are going to a third day, and the reason for that, as we do know, is they have eliminated both divisions in the Atlantic and the Coastal, and they've gone to just one conference with 14 teams. Jim Phillips, the commissioner, a little bit earlier in the week, stating that the goal is to get the 2 best teams that they can to play in the conference championship game, and with the expansion coming for the college football playoffs, hopefully that will be able to create a better opportunity to get more than just one team in. And with everything they're talking about as far as revenue, distribution, and being able to give more money to players, to teams who have actually had a successful season or more of a successful season. Something that we have not seen is, as always, it has been split evenly as far as revenue, but that is about to change as early as the 2024 season. All right, John Osher getting set to join us. Let's bring him in right now. He, of course, is the senior writer at Jaguars.com, and he goes into the night with Rick Ballou. How you doing, Johnny?
Rick, how are you?
Man, I'm doing good, John. I miss you. This is the first time, I think, ever I have not been out there with you day 1, day 2 for Jaguars training camp, so I got to tell you, I'm a little bit upset.
Well, it's a much more pleasant experience, Rick. I'll be honest with you. For whatever else the MEC is, and I know Electric Center. I think anybody who's seen pictures knows it's state of the art, everything. But the media is in shade, Rick. Shade.
Yeah.
So it's it was well worth the $120 million, in my opinion.
Yeah. I imagine much. I imagine much like yourself. I have had an opportunity to walk it, and I did a few weeks ago, and that included both the everything inside, all the offices, all the state of the art equipment they do have, and as well as the outdoor practice facility, both fields outside as well as the one inside, and it's just remarkable to look and see what it actually was all about. From what I understand, John, overall it was a very good day for the Jacksonville Jaguars, as you would expect on the practice field.
Yeah, I mean, to me, clearly the standout, I'm sure anybody who's listened, you heard Ridley just looked different, man. I mean, he's I'm the first one to always say you can't judge till pads are on. Every caveat you want to throw toward practice, but he looks different. He gets open, easy, and that's not because he's quote playing against the Jaguars defense. Everybody's always going to say that in practice. Well, did he look good or did the other guys look bad? He does things athletically. I'm not sure you've seen a receiver like that around here since Jimmy Smith. And with apologies to Justin Blackman, who was going to be special, it's hard to rate that because it was such a short career. This guy looks real, Rick. He looks really good.
Oh, I saw a few videos, and they were absolutely out of this world. I mean, the one grab he made there with the toe tap on the sideline was just ridiculous. And, my understanding of those one-on-ones with him going against Tyson Campbell today were as advertised.
Yeah, and that's I've got to put Ridley a smidge above Tyson just in terms of what if they both peak, meaning if they both fulfill everything and are playing at their absolute best, I think Ridley looks like he might be one of those guys that advertised. He had a top 5 guy. I don't know if Tyson's quite that elite level, but he's close. So it was best going against best. And I don't say that to criticize Tyson. I say that example of how good Ridley might be. It was the real deal, and you just wonder what all of a sudden having that go-to guy will mean for Trevor Lawrence. Just to share, I think it was Gene Fournette and I were talking to Josh Allen late after practice, and I said, hey, I know you don't cover him. And he said, Ridley's a dog. And I didn't even mention Ridley. He said, that's what you were asking, right? And so players know when a guy's good, Rick.
Yeah.
Players know this kid's good.
John Osher, our guest, senior writer, Jaguars.com, joining us right here on the text line, which is brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. Forever, John, we kind of don't kid it, but, it's the preseason, it's the off season. You can't tell anything until the pads go on, and that always is stated by anyone who talks about the Jaguars, whether it's OTAs or now day one during training camp. But from a feel perspective, how much different does it look just observing this compared to last year with Doug, a year before with Urban, 3 years ago with Doug Marrone? How different is it?
Well, it's quieter than it was with Urban, Rick. We're not, we're not going 4 to 6 and A to B.
Right.
But, I kid, but obviously that was a different thing. I don't know if they're automatically more talented than they were this time last year. I mean, I think Ridley makes them more talented. But what they are, I think, is what you would expect, meaning this time last year, they're in their first quote-unquote real practices with this offense. They've had, 7 or 8 weeks of OTAs on the field with it. Now you're coming in. Trevor's year 2 in this scheme. The other guys are year 2 with Trevor. So you would expect efficiency. You would expect Trevor to look more fluid, more comfortable, meaning when he drops back, he's not having to think as much. And that makes any athlete look better, play better. It wasn't perfect. Tyson broke on a ball early in practice and almost intercepted Trevor. If he catches that, I'm fielding question about what's wrong with 16, right? So, I mean, that's sometimes the difference. But kidding aside on that, the offense just looks easier. And I don't say that as a knock on the defense. I say that to mean when you're watching them, it just looks like they know what they're doing, just like anybody in their second year on a job knows what they're doing.
John Osher, our guest. He is the senior writer from Jaguars.com. First things first, let's check in with our sponsor for our conversation.
Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
How about that, John? An in-segment sponsor. Pretty good stuff.
It's like professional radio, right?
Yeah. You know what? And everyone looks good. They're professionals, and that's the way it's supposed to be. But from afar, I can feel it. I can feel it on social media. I can feel it from the people that I'm talking with back in the studios in Jacksonville as I'm here live in Charlotte. And you and I, again, I think I am one who, believe it or not, during camp probably overestimates, probably overranks, and overhypes things. And I keep telling myself every year, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But boy, man, I can even feel it out here in Charlotte, John.
Well, when you look, and again, I always look in practices, and I try to keep it realistic of what you can really tell from a given practice. Well, right now, what you can tell is, does this team know the offense a lot better? Are they moving faster? Are fewer footballs hitting the ground when Trevor Lawrence throws them than this time last year? That's all you can judge because you're not doing one-on-one pass rush. Short practice today. I don't know the exact numbers, but maybe they did 10 or 15 7-on-7, 10 or 15 11-on-11 all the way through. Maybe a little more than that, but it was 80 minutes, and it ended at 10 o'clock. Next week, practice are going to end an hour later, so there's more to see. But I go back to you wanted to see more fluidity. You wanted to see more confidence out of Trevor Lawrence. He needed to look like he just knew this thing a lot better. And when he walks out there, he's not thinking about stuff. Your second year on radio, you were probably better than the first, Rick, because you could rely on things you'd seen before. Well, same deal with a quarterback in an offense. That's what you look for, and you were seeing it. I think what makes people optimistic is it confirms what they were seeing on the field late last year. So you've got a little bit of a body of work to say, okay, well, we've seen it, and now we see another step of growth. Well, that all fits and makes sense. So I think really what you were looking for today, and I think fans were going nuts every time Ridley touched the ball, is does this guy look like a one? Does he do things that number one receivers should do? Yes, and I think the good thing is that doesn't change that much when pads go on. Guys get open, they get open, and he, I haven't seen a player practice like this since Blackman a couple of days, where you walked off when Justin Blackman was here in the short time he was here. There were some plays where you walked off and you went, wow, that guy's good. Well, same feeling from this. And, again, we all know how good Justin could have been.
Yep, there's no doubt about that. Hey, let's wrap it up with Doug Peterson, a couple of offensive line things. First off, you said it's going to be a few weeks for Ben Barch?
Looks like it. He compared it to J-Rob last year, and I think Robinson came back. I didn't look it up today, but I thought he came back right at the end of sort of the open the time at Episcopal of practice over in training camp ends.
Okay.
I think that's when they brought him back. So it feels sort of like that, which makes sense because you tear your ACL week 5. Standard protocol is usually start on pup, bring them back intelligently. The guy's played in the NFL before. You want to make sure he's as comfortable as possible coming back. Smooth. It sort of sounded like could be longer. I kind of anticipate Dewan starting the season on pup. That's not stuff I'm hearing. It's just sort of Achilles late in the season like that. I guess maybe they could do the same thing as J-Rob did last year, but wouldn't surprise you to see him start the season on pup. But that's a guess. That's not inside information.
And with Cam Robinson, he's suspended for 4 games, but he is allowed to practice. So is it a rotation right now with him and Walker Little? Both, your understanding, will get first-team snaps?
Well, it sure sounded from going back and listening to Doug today. He said he used the phrase Walker Little taking all the reps, meaning first-team reps. Sometimes when coaches say that, it was a little bit of an aside. He didn't sort of emphasize that. So sometimes when coaches say that, they don't quite mean exactly that. It doesn't mean you're lying. It sort of means you're talking in a press conference. But I took it to mean that Walker Little is going to get as many reps at left tackle as he needs to feel like he's ready for the opener. Meaning it's going to be Walker Little's reps much more than Cam Robinson during preseason. And it sort of makes sense. I mean, Rick Cam's been playing 6 years. I think he's going to be ready to go in when he comes back. They don't need that many reps during preseason, frankly, and he's a vet. So that didn't surprise me a whole lot.
John, I miss you, man. I do. I'll see you out there on Friday morning, but I'm here in Charlotte. And, hey, the good news is this. After the show Thursday night, driving back, I'll be in Jacksonville probably around 3, 4 in the morning for that 8:40 practice. So I'll be zombie-like, but I'll get some Red Bulls in me or whatever, and I'll be fine.
I think you just drive straight there and stay up.
I'm sure the Miller Electric Center is a place that I could crash there for a few hours anyway. That place is phenomenal.
I think it's safe to say you pulled a couple all-nighters for other reasons.
Yeah, good point. Hey, John, always a pleasure. Thank you. I'll see you out there on Friday.
Look forward to it, Rick.
All right, there he goes. One of the good ones, John Osher. So, as expected, today went as expected. I refuse to use the term "can't wait," because I'm excited about this final hour of the show. I'm excited about after the show. I'm excited about tomorrow, getting an opportunity, day 3 here, to talk with the players and coaches. But I got to tell you, man, getting back there on Friday is going to be absolutely spectacular, getting that first look, which will be day 3 for the Jaguars practicing at the brand new Miller Electric Center. All right, brought to you tonight by the good folks over at First Responder AC and Heat. They are a family veteran and first responder-owned company, and the family has served North Florida for more than 50 years when it comes to residential services. First Responder AC and Heat provides customers with a hometown feel, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, system replacement, home air purification, duct cleaning, and so much more, plus a 10% discount for veterans, first responders, teachers, and new homeowners. For all the details, go to firstresponder.com. That's firstresponderac.com. Firstresponderac.com. All right, we got much more to do. Thank you to our good friend John Osher. Coming up next, let's get a little bit more on the Jaguars. I also want to get to the defensive side of the football for Florida State. And Kalen DeLoach, believe it or not, he's a guy who was recruited by FSU, has been there for 5 years, with as well as Florida State has done with their transfer portal and things along those lines. There's not a lot of guys who've been around for 5 years. Kalen DeLoach is one, and he's an NFL-to-be linebacker. Well, he joins us next. He goes into the night with Rick Ballou.
I want you to promise me something. I want you to play life just like you played that game today. So when that final buzzer of life goes off, you'll have no regrets.
1010XL.
Did you know the 2023 Honda CR-V Hybrid never needs to be plugged in? The onboard system charges the batteries for you. When you think Honda, think hybrid. Good for the environment, great for your budget. Visit your local Honda dealer to experience the CR-V of the future today.
E.T. here, Brackish Vodka, Jacksonville produced and distilled. A gluten-free corn-based vodka is the smoothest vodka you've ever had. Because it's mineral salt filtered after being distilled 5 times, you get the smoothest vodka on the market. And it's made right here in Jacksonville. When you drink gluten-free Brackish Vodka, you are supporting a local business and not a business based in Texas. Taste why 9 out of 10 people pick Brackish Vodka in a blind taste test. Drink like a local. Drink Brackish Vodka.
This is Dr. Chris Swanson. When your sports injuries flare up, come where athletes are treated like pros. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
This is Verlin Dormany, head coach and athletic director of Trinity Christian Academy. We're proud of our relationship with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Take it from us at Trinity Christian. When you need orthopedic care, call on Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Players Grill Mandarin will be open for business July 27th at 11 a.m. Grab the family and get to Players Grill Mandarin for the official opening and try the best tasting wings you've ever had. Players Grill, where the neighborhood meets.
Get inside intel on the PGA Tour from exclusive angles and insider access on Brunch with the Tour. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A. Tuesday morning at 8:30.
Brought to you by
Clearwater Irrigation and J&M Roofing on 1010XL.
Hey guys, Hicken here. It's hot. The oven is on and it ain't getting any cooler. Unless you stay cooler with Bueller. Bueller Air, still locally owned and still treating their growing customer base like they're part of the family. Go ahead and Google them yourself. Bueller Air, B-U-E-H-L-E-R. You won't find better rated air conditioning company in town. I use them, so I already know. Like I said, it's getting hotter than ever outside, so stay cooler with Bueller.
Bueller Air, stay cooler with Bueller.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys come comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
For the past 5 years in Jacksonville, J-Dog Junk Removal has been on a mission to put veterans back to work. They have successfully helped over 40 veterans find meaningful employment, and they're not stopping there. Their goal is to reach an astounding 75 veterans employed by the year 2025, all in our local community. J-Dog Junk Removal. Veteran-owned, veteran-operated.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From roll-and lock bed covers to Lear toppers to cam locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. It's where football season starts. ACC kickoff in Charlotte. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234 on 1010XL.
All right, with you tonight till 8 o'clock. Rick Ballou live from the Atlantic Coast Conference meetings here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Been a whole heck of a lot of fun. Thank you to John Osher for joining us. Be interesting to see what happens with that offensive line for the Jaguars. Ben Barch, a little disappointed it's taken them this long. It was what, October 9th, October 10th? It's different for everyone. Who am I to judge on an injury? But I'm just saying it's too bad because I would like to see him fight for that job. I mean, all the conversation is obviously about Cam Robinson and the future of the left tackle position. I'm also concerned about that interior offensive line. Luke Fortner reportedly bigger and stronger. Here's a guy who totally took advantage of COVID, right, and got a sixth year at Kentucky. So he's, a 24-year-old who'll be, I believe, 25 at some point this year. Got to get bigger and stronger. Sheriff, you hope, is going to be healthy. Unfortunately for him, he graded out the lowest that he ever has, according to Pro Football Focus. Right tackle's a rookie. And, JJ, I was on earlier today with Joe. We were doing some interviews here from the Atlantic Coast Conference. I heard Leon Searcy was asked a question. It's so intriguing to me that people can actually gauge and have an opinion either way on Anton Harrison based on one non-padded practice. And I know that Leon was kind of like, whoa, let's pump the brakes on this conversation after just one session.
Yeah, he didn't like his size, but he liked his hands and his feet. And like you said, nobody's in pads. And I would expect, I heard some things online about Josh Allen beating him a couple times on a play. I would hope Josh Allen is able to beat this rookie in his first training camp practice.
Yeah, and it's a move they had to make. It's not going to happen overnight for this football team. You've got to, you have to go out and draft these offensive linemen. And, all of a sudden you look at the last several years, the line is all draftable players outside of Brandon Sheriff. Fortner a year ago, Barch 3 years ago, or, this will be coming up on, his fourth year, Little coming up on his third year, and now you have Harrison, who's a rookie, but you have to find the right combination to protect the franchise and what you have, obviously, in Trevor Lawrence. All right, let's get back to here at the Atlantic Coast Conference meetings, football meetings in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Florida State defense doesn't get talked about as much as they should. Very talented group. A lot of NFL players on this defense. Lots of room for improvement, however, particularly against really good offensive football teams. Today, earlier, myself along with Joe Cowart had an opportunity to talk with senior linebacker Kalen DeLoach.
Well, it's a pleasure to say hello to Kalen DeLoach. He's one of the stars on the defensive side of Florida State, and coming back, and if I have it right, finish the climb. That was your mantra, is that right?
Yes, sir. We want to come back and finish the climb. Yes, sir.
So give us a sense of that, because you got a good football team. You're a big part of it on the defensive side. In your mind, what is that goal, finish the climb?
We just want to finish games, finish the season how we want to finish the season. We got this set goal that we looking to reach to this year. We want to continue to work every day to the goal because we know it's not going to be handed to us. So we just want to continue to put in the work and just do what we do.
What are your thoughts on the run defense from a year ago? Some good teams were able to, accumulate yards. I know you've added certainly on that defensive line. How much better do you expect that part of the game to be?
I feel like, our defensive line it's a whole bunch of people that you got to worry about, like across the board. No matter if it's the first string or the second string. We brought in some key guys that, that's going to be able to, stuff the run when we need them to, or like free up the linebackers. They're going to take on double teams to free up the linebackers to make plays, or even the secondary to make plays. So I feel like, we're in a good position.
Kalen DeLoach, he's a linebacker for the Florida State Seminoles here at the ACC kickoff on 1010XL 92.5 FM. A lot of Noles fans in Jacksonville. They're fired up for that big game.
Yes,
I know
sir.
you probably thought about it and been asked about it 1,000 times. Let's make it 1,001. How big is that game for you and your teammates to go up against LSU?
I feel like it's just we're gonna look at it as a regular game. We're not gonna hype it up too much. We're just gonna go in there with the mindset like we gotta play these boys. We know we put our best foot forward each and every day. That we're gonna be confident when it comes to that game.
As far as you and Tatum and your expanding relationship with Randy Shannon, what's that been about, and what are the expectations as far as you move forward this year?
Our linebacker room, especially, Coach Shannon holds us to a high level, like accountability on and off the field. So I really appreciate him, and then all the knowledge that he pours into the linebacker room. He gives us gems each and every day, and we don't take it for granted. And me and Tatum, that's just a duo that, like, as soon as he stepped on campus, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be one that. I've been needing this. I've been needing somebody to push me, and he's been needing somebody to push him. So I feel like that brotherhood is just one of a kind.
We're talking with Kalen DeLoach. When you think of just how deep this football team is, and I would think over the course of the time that you've been there, Mike Norvell has just slowly built this bad boy. I mean, do you look around now and go, gosh, man, we didn't have any depth like this a couple years ago?
Yes, sir. Like from our freshman year to now, it's like, wow. Like I never thought of like this will be where we at right now. Just continue to see like Coach Norvell. He brought in a lot of key pieces throughout his whole time here. It's like I could this guy knows what he's doing. So it's like I'm gonna buy into what he has to say and what he has to do because there has been results.
When you wrapped up spring ball, one of the major criticisms with Florida State, really over the last 10 years, has been the offensive line. What did you see? And there's plenty of depth there now, apparently.
Yes.
What did you see out of that group during spring practice?
I seen a group that was willing to work. Willing. They knew that they had to get better, and I feel like they embraced the work. They wanted to push each other each and every day. You see them after practice trying to get extra work, so make sure they're on the same communication page. And even on the back end, like they working with the. You see all the older guys working with the younger guys, trying to make sure they know what they're doing because you never know. It's a long season, so you may never know who you may need.
Couple more for Kalen DeLoach, FSU linebacker. Jordan Travis sat with us earlier, and he said he put 15 pounds on.
Oh, yes, sir.
So give us a sense of just how hard he is to defend and now that added element.
Oh, yes, sir. Jordan, his feet special. He's able to extend plays on the run that most quarterbacks in the league that can't do. And I feel like you face a running quarterback is definitely that's another threat that you got to account for. And just him adding weight is going to definitely be a surprise to people because he does look bigger. He definitely put on those 15 pounds, and you could definitely tell.
Last one for you. Senior leadership. The expectations, again, are nuts. Do you embrace that? Do you talk to some of the younger guys like, whoa, whoa, whoa? I mean, there's a lot of football ahead, obviously, an entire season. But how do you handle the preseason success compared to what you saw when you got here 5 years ago?
I try not to focus on too much of that. I'm more of a guy who likes to, go to the work. I like to be confident in the work. I'm going to trust in the work regardless. And, you got young guys who come into the program as a leader, like older guy, you got to teach them the standard of the way we operate and the way we do things because, coming out of high school, you don't know too much. So I feel like being that older head and, somebody who done been through the same thing they've been through, I could just drop the gems off to them like, your time coming.
Yeah.
Your time coming. Like, you might go through some things, but it's your time coming.
Thank you, Kalen.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Kalen DeLoach, one of the true leaders on this Florida State Seminole defense. And they return a lot of football players, a lot of very good football players. And it's been a long, long time since you can really sit around and brag, about this linebacking core that runs as we know, a 4-2-5. But with Tatum Bethune and Kalen DeLoach and DJ Lundy continues to lose weight. Omar Graham Jr. is a guy that they really like. He's young. He got some playing time a year ago, but certainly an opportunity for him to really expand his role. And, the defensive line we hammered earlier with Verse and Lovett and Fisk and Peyton and others, Darrell Jackson. This defense really does have an opportunity to get better. My biggest concern with the defense, again, is defending the run, and that should prove. And health's an issue. Let's make no doubt about it. Fabian Lovett, when he went out, this team was different. And I was shocked he came back. Remember, he opted out before the game against Oklahoma. I know that's pretty common nowadays for players, if you're not in the playoffs, to ask out of a bowl game. I thought Fabian Lovett needed that bowl game in order to, increase his opportunity as far as going to the NFL because he was that good when he was there. He was out during the 3-game losing streak, and there were some other games against good teams where they just couldn't defend the run, right? Florida, Oklahoma. So that's one thing they're going to have to improve on this year with Adam Fuller, and obviously Randy Shannon, very much involved now as the linebacker coach for the Florida State Seminoles. Feet special. Have you ever heard that before, JJ?
No, that's a new one for me. But we will be playing it throughout the season. Don't you worry.
I love it. I'm going to start using it, man. Feet special. I love that. Kalen DeLoach, his 2 words on quarterback Jordan Travis. All right, outstanding stuff there. Thank you, as always. The very latest from the folks here in Charlotte, and that includes Florida State Sports Information. Boy, they really did an outstanding job. Not everyone got Jordan and Mike, if you look at Travis in Norvell. And we did, and we're excited about it. Hey, Reliance Primary and Urgent Care. Let me be really brief and really specific about this because it happened to me, and it was absolutely nuts. I hurt my back, and I need to see my doctor, okay? I like my doctor. I've had him forever, my PCP. And he's like, whoever answers, we can maybe get you at the end of the week. If not, we can get you next week. And I'm like, no way. I'm hurt. I need attention right now today. Enter Dr. Patel. Enter Reliance Primary and Urgent Care. Conveniently located right off of 295 and Southside Boulevard. If you need help today, physically, because you are injured, your PCP is going to take a while. And even when you get there, you wait for an hour, hour and a half. You know how it is visiting doctor's offices. If you need help and you need compassion and you need care and you need it that day, the best advice I can give you is to go to ReliancePrimary.com. give it a shot. ReliancePrimary.com. We appreciate them sponsoring our show out here in Charlotte, North Carolina. On the other side, we have much more to do. We will also get you ready for Hacker Nation, who takes over at 8 o'clock right here on your home of the Jags.
Jordan, his feet special.
Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
Patterson's kick is up. The field goal is good! The Jaguars have won it! They have come back from 27-0!
1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
How good is that?
Are you tired of having a plain and boring backyard? Really want to impress your family and friends this year? Then stop by Stone Core on Phillips Highway. Imagine hosting guests at your new outdoor kitchen, relaxing by your custom-built fireplace under a brand new pergola. Stone Core can also remodel your old pool deck and beautiful new pavers. Make your backyard wishes a reality. Visit Stone Core on Phillips Highway and let's get started at stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I said yes to Yas, Dr. Mitchell Yas, and the Yas method. Now I know, you've probably tried medications, treatments, injections, even surgery. Maybe the reason you're still in pain is because they're treating the wrong thing and not addressing the root causes. Well, I know from personal experience, this does happen. But I found the best-kept secret in pain elimination, Dr. Yas and the Yas method. Call him today, 904-906-YASS, and say yes to Yas.
Do you need a doctor today? For all your healthcare needs, I found Reliance Primary and Urgent Care. They were huge for me when I needed a doctor that day. Not 3 weeks later like my PCP said. 3 weeks? I need help today. The level of service and compassion is what you will experience at Reliance. At 295 and Southside Boulevard, Dr. Patel and his staff are committed to providing the best patient experience and advocate for your healthcare needs. Visit them online at ReliancePrimary.com.
Introducing an exciting update from Duck Duck Rooter. We're thrilled to expand our services with the launch of Duck Duck Air Conditioning. As a fully licensed mechanical contractor, our skilled team is equipped to handle any air conditioning and refrigeration project you have in mind. Contact Duck Duck Air Conditioning today at 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769. Or visit us online at duckduckac.com. Duck Duck Air Conditioning, your reliable partner in air conditioning and refrigeration services.
1010XL takes you to the ACC kickoff in Charlotte so you can get to know your favorite coaches and players.
We cannot be defeated.
Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234 and Performance Painting.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can now do it in less than a week. Hey, it's Prosser here, and that's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. And you don't even have to touch your primary mortgage, so you can keep that 3% rate intact. Just get the money you need and pay off all those credit cards, or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Come to Bowden Eye for all your eye care needs. Hicken here. Did you know that diabetes is a leading cause of blindness and affects up to 34 million Americans? Please don't take diabetes lightly. If you have diabetes, see your favorite Bowden Eye doc and save your vision. Bowden Eye is dedicated to the protection and preservation of the treasured gift of sight. Bowden Eye & Associates. Visit today for your personal consultation. Keeping the First Coast focused. New location now open of County Road 210 in St. Johns County.
Hacker here for the Sausage Dudes Sausage. You know I'm a sausage guy, and the Sausage Dudes, Paul and Patrick, make the best sausage I've ever tasted. Their high-quality pork and spices separate the Sausage Dudes from the pack. Try their 4 flavors, including Italian, Polish, Hungarian, and beer bratwurst today by picking them up at any Publix in the Jacksonville area. A portion of their proceeds also get donated to the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida. Try the Sausage Dudes Sausage today, the sausage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, Hicken here. Look, you've been hearing me talk about Zero Res for a while now, but there's 3 things they tell you that I agree with about their company. Best process, best people, and have a promise to do the best cleaning possible every time. And they offer a great deal every month. Well, guess what? July is National Carpet Cleaning Month. For home carpet cleaning, they're offering $49 per room. And for businesses, 20% off in July. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. 1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. The ACC Kickoff on 1010XL, brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234 and Performance Painting.
It's been a great day here, no question about it. Certainly, all the Florida State attention is, I'll be honest, it's pretty cool. Been a long time coming. I knew they'd get back to this as far as the hype. Same's going to happen with Florida. I think the same's going to happen with Miami. You're talking about the state of Florida. You're talking about schools with history. You're talking about schools who have won national championships, schools that have won Heisman trophies. But it's been bare as of late, even though Florida State did put together a good year. One thing that I find myself not in a battle with, I'll say it's more of a respectful conversation, is I keep hammering the consistency point and getting things done against opponents that you're supposed to get things done against. Where the flip side would be, isn't that kind of what happened a year ago? And my answer to that question is, yeah, it's kind of. But it wasn't complete. You never should have lost to Wake Forest. Okay? You had a 17-3 lead against North Carolina State. You didn't score again. I think you ended up losing 2017 in that game. And chances to put away LSU, chances to put away Florida, chances to put away Oklahoma, and you didn't. And the difference between Florida State last year and Florida State these several years prior to that, they lose all those games. I mean, come on. If you go back to 2 years ago, they lose against Oklahoma. They end up losing that game against Florida. They lose those type of football games. They found a way to win them. So that is what you got to ask yourself, and that's the battle that I have, is that others will say, and I acknowledge this, I recognize this. You are correct. They did find a way to win those games. But can they consistently do that this year? I'm looking at a team like Pitt, who rolls in here tomorrow. Okay? Pat Narduzzi in Pittsburgh, man, they're 20-7 in their last 2 years. This is a good football team. Phil Jurkovec is back for his, 5th season. He's gone from Notre Dame to Boston College to now Pittsburgh. He rejoins Frank Cignotti Jr., who left Boston College a year ago to replace, was it Whipple? I think it was Matt Whipple as the former offensive coordinator who really got into that battle. Remember with Pat Narduzzi, and I understand that isn't always going to make news down here in the Deep South, but it was a pretty big story with Mark Whipple and Pat Narduzzi. So he brings in Cignetti Jr., who was the offensive coordinator at Boston College. Now you bring over Jurkovec and an opportunity for him to do some really good things. But Florida State's going to be favored. And, thankfully, North Carolina State is not on the schedule. Devin Leary's in Kentucky. He transferred. Former Virginia quarterback Brendan Armstrong did transfer over to North Carolina State. Those type of games give Florida State fits. And I guess the way that I'm trying to describe it, I'd rather go 10-2 and lose to LSU and Clemson, and you're able to look at one another and say you got beat by a better team, as opposed to knocking off LSU or knocking off Clemson, but then the backside, you lay down again against Wake Forest, or you let Boston College beat you, or you let Pittsburgh beat you. Do you understand what I'm getting at? My point is beat the teams you are supposed to beat. Beat them and put them away. And if you get beat by teams that are better than you, like Clemson or LSU, then you got to deal with it. So that seems to be the constant conversation that I find myself in. And, you know, the hype is so overwhelming, which is very encouraging, but I'm one of those guys that has got to step on the brake here a little bit until I'm convinced that they can get over that particular point in part. JJ, you know this as a Miami fan, and, you know, Hacker's coming up here in just a couple of minutes. If you say to any college football fan, yeah, Florida State's on the come. Last year they had victories over Miami, Florida, and Oklahoma. It's impressive, but all three of those schools had losing records.
I was about to say, just without checking the context of the year, that would be like a national title competing team, a team
right.
Definitely in the playoffs. But yeah, and then you also say Wake Forest, North Carolina State, blah blah blah. I get that. I do think beating Miami this year would be a little more impressive than last year, especially the way Florida State did it. I don't expect them to manhandle Miami this year. I still expect them to beat them, but yeah, Miami should be better. So that win against Miami, inevitably that will happen. Will be a lot more impressive than last season. Florida, yeah, I can't say the same.
Well, but okay, but that's my point. Did anyone in the so-called media at all pick Florida to go into Florida State last year and win? They almost won that game. They almost won that game. Florida State had to put together a late drive with Travis and Trey Benson had a phenomenal game to win that late in the fourth quarter, 45-38 in Tallahassee. So my point is that, and others will say, Ballou, they won. That's all that matters. And apparently that is all that matters. But I guess what I'm trying to state is put away those teams. Put away a 6-win Florida team at home in Tallahassee. And, you know, last year, they struggled to win some of those games. Bottom line, though, is they still were able to win. Before we bring in our good friend Hacker, we do this every year, and we'll do it again, JJ, as we get a little bit closer to the start of the season. But I'll rank, for Florida State and Florida, Georgia, and Miami. I don't know if we'll do it for Georgia this year. They're the easiest schedule I've ever seen in the history of the Southeastern Conference. Let's just mark out a 12-0 right now. For them, maybe a ball game, maybe possibly a ball game against Tennessee, maybe possibly a ball game in the world's in the oldest rivalry in the South against Auburn. But still, I like ranking the toughest opponents, at least the top 5. And right now everyone's going to say OSU and Clemson. I'm going to say Clemson's the most difficult game because it's a more important game. All right, it's a conference game, and it's in Death Valley, where LSU's the opener, and anything can happen after that. But who's third on the list? You know, to me, it would be at Pittsburgh. In about any other year, you would bring up Miami, and you would bring up Florida. You would bring up your state rivals and say, you've got to win those games. And, you know, right now, going to Florida, that may be number 3 on my list. Going to Pittsburgh, again, that's one of the more underrated teams in college football. They're 20-7 in the last couple of years. But these are games outside of those that Florida State should absolutely win with very little problem. Southern Miss, BC, Va-Tech, Syracuse, Duke. Here I am again, not referencing Wake Forest. Wake Forest scares the snot out of Florida State. And that's what I want to see happen for this year's Florida State Seminoles. So all this national title talk and all of that, yeah, that's great. Enjoy yourself, and who am I to ruin the party? I'm just trying to be honest with you. Florida State has to learn to consistently beat the teams that they are supposed to beat.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Tire Outlet is now hiring. Visit TireOutlet.com/careers. Equal opportunity employer.
All right, back to the studios in Jacksonville. It's time for Hacker Nation. What is going on, Hacker?
Rick, I'm good, buddy. You sound good up there in Charlotte. I know it was Florida State Day today, and boy, I got to be honest, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I heard you coming into the studio tonight. I think Florida State's going to be a very good football team, and I got to tell you, opening weekend, Labor Day weekend in Orlando against LSU, probably the game in the country to kick off college football.
Yeah, it's going to be a great one, and I will say this, it's much more important for Florida State than it is for LSU. You look at LSU and the division they're in, the conference they're in, LSU can lose that game, turn around, win the rest of them, and there'll be no effect at all on them as far as getting into a college football playoff. Florida State loses this game. They're going to lose some street cred. They're going to have to bounce back and play well. I guess I could make the same point about the Noles, that if they won the rest of their games, it wouldn't be a problem. I also subscribe to the theory, Hacker, that for Florida State, if they do lose to LSU on opening day, there's zero room for error the rest of the way.
Well, let me ask you. I had a couple of guys on from Tallahassee in the last month or so. I flat out asked them, ACC championship game appearance or failure? Is that where we are with Florida State in 2023? Both guys, without hesitation, said ACC game appearance or the season's a failure. Do you believe that?
I do. I do. I think it's the same as saying, can the Jaguars win a divisional round? If Jacksonville wins a wild card game and loses a divisional round, 1-1 of the playoffs, is that a failure? Well, that's a healthy conversation, which we'll talk about. Same here for Florida State. This is the most talent they've had in quite some time. If they lose one, they lose two, they get an opportunity to play right here in Charlotte for an Atlantic Coast Conference championship game. Yeah, I think that is a successful season. I do think that everything will change, however, after that LSU game. Realistically, things will change if they lose. If they win, then it's all going to be on the table, because if they end up losing to Clemson, it could very likely be a rematch. You lose to them twice, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow. But if all of a sudden you turn around and knock them off and you win the ACC championship, that would be a stellar year for the folks in Tallahassee.
Look, Florida State laid the blueprint for Florida and Miami to follow. Mike Norvell, 12 months ago, the hottest of hot seats. I know a lot of Seminole fans that wanted him gone. Now, after a 10-win season, he's sitting pretty. Billy Napier in Gainesville, Mario Cristobal in Coral Gables. If you're a Hurricane fan, if you're a Gator fan, do what Florida State did. You got to give your guy at least 3 years on the field before you can pass judgment. And I think even though it's a tough pill, like you said, to swallow, Florida and Miami need to follow the blueprint that Florida State laid out with Mike Norvell.
Hacker, last year during that 3-game losing streak, Wake Forest, NC State, and Clemson, I had Florida State fans texting me on the text line, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures, and reaching out to me in a variety of different ways, wondering if he was still the guy, asking what his buyout was during a 3-game losing streak midway, or, the early part, late September into October last year. So, that's the world we live in. Mike Norvell's 18-16. He's 18-16. And they gave him all the money that he could possibly ever want. And, right now I'm happy. I hope it works. He's working his ass off in recruiting. It feels like it's changed over there. Honestly, I think it was way, way, way too premature to give him that much money at this point in his career. He's 2 games above 500. So it's going to be, the pressure's up. He's under the microscope now in a different way. Now he's expected to win these games where, again, a year ago, he was fighting for his job. All right, what do you got going on a little bit later on here, Hack?
Yeah, we got a ton to do, Rick. We're obviously going to talk Florida State as they were up there in Charlotte with you and Joe Coward and the masses up there with the ACC media. High School Media Day today down at the stadium. How about this? Quarterbacks committed to Division I colleges in our area. We have a UCF commit, USF, Iowa, LSU, Coastal Carolina. Absolutely incredible. The quarterbacks on the high school gridiron, they're going to be playing D1 college football next year. And, oh, by the way, the Jaguars had their first day of training camp. So we got a lot to do. We're with you till 10 o'clock, and we'll have it here in just a moment.
All right, Hacker, have a lot of fun. He's coming up right now, ladies and gentlemen. That is Hacker Nation. That's going to do it for us right here from Charlotte. We're back tomorrow. All right, Joe Coward is here. We'll have prime time from noon to 3. I'll join Joe for some interviews during that show. And then, of course, tomorrow night as well, 6 to 8. 5 new teams roll in tomorrow, including Clemson and North Carolina. Thank you to J.J. LaSelva for producing it, Mike Norvell, Jordan Travis, Kaylin DeLoach, and John Osher, our guests. I appreciate their time as well. Have an outstanding night. I will talk with you tomorrow live right here from Charlotte, North Carolina.